Hey folks, Rav here, and today I'm bringing you my review of the Samsung Galaxy S7. The S7 is one of two editions of Samsung's flagship phone, the other one being the S7 Edge. The S7 is almost identical to 2015's S6, however, Samsung has taken the Apple iPhone S generation approach and has refined many things you may not have liked about last year's model. The S7 starts at $899 or $679 off contract for Canada and the United States respectively. You can also grab it on a 2-year contract for $399 CAD or $199 USD. Right off the bat, this is the most beautiful phone I've ever held. Samsung has taken what was already an amazing piece of hardware and polished it up to deliver one of the most premium devices on the market. Depending on your region or carrier, you can grab the S7 in gold, silver, black, and white. Weighing in at 152 grams, the S7 feels firm and solid in the hand, as if it were handcrafted instead of coming off of an assembly line. The front and back are made of Gorilla Glass 4 and is surrounded by a metal frame. And the reviews are true. This thing is a fingerprint magnet, so be wary if this is something that bothers you. And because it's glass on both sides, it is very slippery. The S7 has the same 5.1-inch Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen as last year's S6. This screen is bright and lush, but perhaps too saturated. However, that can be adjusted in the settings. New to this year's edition is the always-on display, which allows you to check the time and date and lets you see missed calls and message alerts, even when the phone is not in use and just on standby. This helps prolong the charge of the 3000 mAh battery by not making you have to light up the entire screen to check your notifications. Speaking of the battery, I was able to get a day and a half out of the S7 with moderate to intensive use. Just on standby alone, the phone was able to go 4 days without a charge. When it was time to plug it in, it only took about an hour and a bit to fully charge the device. And if you're not into plugging it in, the S7 does support wireless charging. On board, the S7 has 32 gigs of storage. There's a 64GB model, however, that's only available in South Korea. Just pop out the SIM card tray and you'll find a slot for a micro SD card, which is capable of supporting 128GB of extra storage, but theoretically it can support much higher volumes. The S7 is IP68 certified, so that means it's dust-proofed and water-resistant over 1.5 meters and about 30 minutes of being submerged in water. This extra protection does come at a cost, as the sound quality on the external speaker is crappy. Low end is hard to perceive, and overall, it just sounds like it's lacking. Now let's jump to performance. The version you see here is the non-US edition with the Exynos 8890 processor with 4 gigs of RAM under the hood, while those of you in the United States will be getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820. The Exynos version performs slightly better in multi-core processing, while the Qualcomm version fares slightly better in single core. Now I have read some reports while doing my research that the Exynos version gets hotter while doing intensive tasks such as gaming, which I can attest to as my S7 got really hot while in use, and also got warm while fast charging as well. Despite all of this though, the phone is a powerhouse. Split screen use was seamless and gaming is incredible. In the 2 games I tested, game performance was lag-free and didn't have any FPS issues. On a side note, gaming on this phone is a pleasure. I've always been a PC and console gamer, but I could see myself getting into this. Now on to the main event, the camera. The S7 packs a 12 megapixel f1.7 rear-facing camera. From opening the app, pointing and clicking, this phone is seriously fast at taking pictures, which is so nice if you're shooting spontaneous moments. Image quality is vibrant and you can get some really nice bokeh. Samsung has a feature called Motion Photo, which is their answer to Apple's live photo function that takes images before and after your shot to create movement. The camera is capable of filming 4K video at 30 frames per second and 1080p at 60 FPS. The video quality is great, however, rolling shutter is problematic if you're shooting action shots. Then there's a 5 megapixel f1.7 selfie cam on the front, which is pretty decent. There's a selfie flash feature now that lights up the display to fire some light your way to brighten up your images, which is a nice solution instead of packing in a front-facing flash. Now the big question is, should you buy it? If you currently own a Galaxy S6, then no. There's not enough here to say you should part with your money to upgrade, and that goes for any other Android device you may have picked up in the last 3/4 of 2015. If you're on an older Galaxy, then sure, you should consider it. If you're coming from another platform such as iPhone, Microsoft, or BlackBerry, then I think the S7 is a good buy. However, if it is your first Android device, know that there's a learning curve when it comes to Samsung's TouchWiz interface, which has gotten a lot better on the S7. Now, I won't be reviewing the S7 Edge, but the gist is it's bigger than the S7, has a larger battery, and curves on the left and right of the screen. You'll gain some shortcuts, but for an extra 120 bucks, unless you need the extra size, I don't think that's worth it. So, what do you think? Will you be buying one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to hear my random thoughts, follow me on Twitter at the6file, and help me out by subscribing to this channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you later. To pop the Blaze's electronics out of the wristband and insert it into the charger and then clamp it down, which is such a complicated and time-consuming way to charge something. Considering nearly all other smartwatches uses some form of magnetic charging, which is far simpler, I think this is a huge misstep. And I couldn't help but feel